How do you declutter when it's all so overwhelming that you don't even know where to start? Hey friends, welcome back to my channel where I help you declutter in a realistic and non-judgy way, plus live more intentionally in all aspects of life. I'm Shannon, host of the Paring Down podcast, and if all of that sounds good to you, I'd be so grateful if you'd hit subscribe. Like I said, today we are talking about something that so many people struggle with, which is where to even start decluttering. Maybe you look around your home and every room feels overwhelming. Maybe you've tried before and got stuck after a few minutes. Or maybe you're so paralyzed by the thought of starting that you have avoided it completely. If that's you, first of all, you are not alone. Second, there is a way forward. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process to begin decluttering, even if you feel like your house is too far gone, even if you feel like you don't have the time, and even if you failed at this before. By the end, you'll know exactly how to take that very first step, and you'll feel lighter, more hopeful, and in more control of your space. So let's get into it. Before we talk solutions, let's name the problem. The number one reason people don't start decluttering is overwhelm. When you see piles everywhere, when you've got closets just jam full, when you can't even see the top of your kitchen counter, it feels impossible. Your brain says, this is too big, I'll never get through it. Another big reason, decision fatigue. Decluttering is basically a series of tiny decisions. Keep this, toss that, donate this, store that. And when you already have a busy life with kids, work responsibilities, whatever, your brain is tired before you even begin. And then there's perfectionism. We tell ourselves, if I can't declutter this whole house today, why even try? Or I need the perfect system, the perfect bins, the perfect Pinterest-worthy organization before I start. Here's the truth. You don't need a perfect system. You don't need 12 hours of free time. You don't even need to know exactly how it will all look in the end. You just need to begin. Think of it like rolling a snowball. The hardest part is the very first push. And once it starts moving, that momentum builds. Now, let's reframe how you think about decluttering to begin with. Decluttering isn't about deprivation. It's not about throwing away everything that you own. It's about creating space for what matters most. It's about gaining clarity on what's truly important to you. That might be space to breathe, or space to think, space for your kids to play, space for you to relax without feeling like the walls are closing in. It could go even broader than that and be about hospitality or changing your relationship to consumption so you have more financial freedom in order to be generous or travel or all the ways we can spend our money that isn't tied to belongings. So when you feel resistance before you start to declutter, ask yourself, what am I making room for? Am I making room for peace? Am I making room for more time with my family? Am I making room for less stress when I walk in the door? More generosity? That's your why. Keep that front and center. The other shift is this: value progress over perfection. A lot of people quit because they expect instant transformation, but your house did not fill up with clutter overnight, and it will not empty overnight either. Instead, aim for one drawer better, one surface clearer, one corner calmer than it was yesterday. These tiny steps add up to a big change. Okay, so let's get practical. If you're staring at your whole house and thinking, I don't know where to start, here's the answer. First, start with a general tidy of one single room. Get all the trash out, get anything that doesn't belong into that room into a basket, like a laundry basket, for you to take those things where they go when you're done. But you don't want to run around the house bringing things to where they belong as you're going, because you're going to just get distracted. So just toss it all into a single basket. Once the room is generally tidied, meaning the trash and things that don't belong in there are out, then you can start the true decluttering process. Now, as for which room to choose, pick the room that annoys you the most. And if all the rooms annoy you, pick the room that has that one pile that gets in the way the most or just stands out in your mind as, oh, I just want to get that done. Then start small. Pick something small so you can finish it in 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe it's that particular pile that's driving you nuts, but there are some other good starter spots. So like if you're starting in your kitchen, decide that you're just going to finish 3 drawers. If you're starting in your bedroom, decide to just do the socks and underwear drawer. If you're starting in your mudroom, decide to tackle the shoes or all the hats inside of your hat box. Don't look at the entire room. That is when you paralyze yourself with overwhelm. Zone down into something that you can finish quickly. I also do recommend a zone that is visible, so you're gonna see that impact right away, and that doesn't involve super emotional decisions, which is why I always say like an underwear drawer, that's a good place, or maybe a shoe bin. Those are good options. So instead of saying I'm going to declutter my whole kitchen, you say I'm just going to declutter this one drawer, or I'm just going to do that one pile that has been driving me insane. And that's it. And if all you do today is clear one drawer, that is a success. Now, how do you actually decide what to keep and what to let go of? I like to keep it incredibly simple with the 3-pile method. You have your keep items that you use, that you love, that you really need. You have your donate or sell items that are in good condition, but that you no longer use. And then you have trash and recycle, items that are broken, expired, not worth passing on, that kind of thing. That's it, 3 piles. The key here is to trust your gut. If you haven't used it in a year, if it doesn't make your life better, it probably doesn't need space in your home. And just remember that decluttering is a skill. The more you practice, the faster and easier these decisions become. You can also have an archive box for things that you want to visit, like revisit in a few months, but that easily turns into a giant maybe pile. So choose a box to begin with, and then that is your physical boundary. Like you can only keep and archive, right, what fits in this box. If you have more than that, then you need to make some harder decisions in the moment. But I think that you'll find once you get going and you're on a roll, you're gonna come across fewer and fewer maybes. Once you've tackled one small space, pause for a moment, step back, look at it, notice how it feels, lighter, clearer, a little less stressful. That feeling is momentum. Here's what usually happens. When people finish one small space, they want to keep going. They'll think, well, if I can do that one drawer, then maybe I can do this shelf too. And if I can do this shelf, then I can handle that closet. And that's exactly how decluttering works. It's like exercise. You don't start with a marathon. You start with a short walk. And as you build strength, you go further. So don't underestimate the power of one small victory. It leads to the next and the next until all your rooms are actually transformed. And this is actually called a success spiral in cognitive psychology. So it's a very real thing. Let me give you a quick warning though. There are a few categories of clutter that are really hard, especially when you're just starting. And they are sentimental items, which are things that belong to a loved one, things from your childhood, photos, letters. These things are really loaded with emotion, so don't start there. Save them for later when your decision-making muscles are stronger. The next is paper clutter, so bills, old receipts, kids' schoolwork. Listen, paperwork is overwhelming because it piles up fast and it often feels really important. So again, don't start here. Start with the easy wins first. The last tough ones are those just-in-case items. They're things that you keep because you might need them someday, and 90% of the time you never do. Most of these types of items are in garages or basements, so I don't recommend starting in a space like that. Start in your everyday space to build decluttering muscles before you go somewhere like a basement or a garage. If you find yourself in one of those difficult categories, sentimental, whatever it is, back up, pick something easier to keep that momentum going. Okay, so now you've started. How do you keep decluttering without burning out? Well, here are a few simple habits. So first, set a 10 to 15 minute timer because even that little period of time can make a huge difference. And you're gonna be amazed at how much you can get done in a short burst. And setting a timer is really good for your brain because you're giving yourself that out. So truly, try it. Another thing to do is pick one spot at a time. Don't wander around the house looking for random items. Finish one drawer, one shelf, one complete surface because that sense of completion is really motivating. All right, also do one in, one out. Whenever something new comes into your house, let go of something old. If you buy a new sweater, donate an old one. Got a new coffee mug, release one you don't use. If you're going to declutter, you don't want to mess it up with bringing in a whole bunch of new stuff. That is counterproductive. And most importantly, notice the wins. Every time you walk past that clear counter, let yourself feel a little burst of relief. That's the proof that your work is paying off. So here's the bottom line. If you don't know where to start decluttering, the secret is to pick where annoys you the most and start small after you do that first initial tidy, right? But you're choosing one drawer, one shelf, one bag at a time. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to tackle the whole house. You just need to take that first step. And when you do, you'll find that the hardest part, starting, was only the beginning, right? Because that momentum will carry you forward. It's not as hard when you keep going. If you found this video helpful, please hit like, hit subscribe, and maybe share this with a friend who also feels stuck in the clutter. I'd also love for you to check out the Paring Down podcast. I will have that linked in the description of this video. Lots of other good content to help you declutter there as well. So thanks for being here, and tell me in the comments, Where do you think you're going to start decluttering and why? All right, I'll see you next time.